Welcome to the LDN radio show, brought to you by the LDN Research Trust. I'm your host, Linda Elsiegood. I have an exciting lineup of guest speakers who are LDN experts in their field. We will be discussing low-dose naltrexone and its many uses in autoimmune diseases, cancers, etc. Thank you for joining us. I'd like to welcome our guest today, Marilyn from the United States, who takes LDN for rheumatoid arthritis. Thank you for joining us today, Marilyn.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here, actually.
Wonderful. So let's start by before you had rheumatoid arthritis. What led to your diagnosis and when was that?
That was in 1998, and I was just getting some joint pain in my knees, and that's when the doctor decided to, run some tests. So he did an RA factor and a CRP and a SED rate and an ANA test, and everything showed rheumatoid arthritis. Mm-hmm. So I started with methotrexate and then kind of graduated to sulfasalazine, and then on and off with prednisone because I would have flare-ups. I mean, I was really not doing very well as far as my joints were. And then I ended up having to go on to biologicals, and I was taking infusions, Orencia infusions. And then I discovered, and I don't even remember how I discovered it, but somebody said, "Have you looked into LDN?" And I had not. So I went to your website, and I think the first person I listened to was Dr. Deanna Wyndham, and then Lauren Matheson. I think both of those doctors were on. And so I just decided, why not give this a try? So I've been on it for almost a year. It will be a year in February. And the last 6 months, I have had absolutely no inflammation. My inflammation levels are normal. I have more energy. I feel so good. I just feel like spreading the word to everybody. I really do. So I tell my friends and everything. And I think it's not just for RA, obviously, it's for so many other things, but it's changed my life. It really has.
So if we can go back, when you first were diagnosed and you were trying all these other drugs and you said, you weren't in a good place, how would you describe a typical day before you started LDN? What would that look like?
Well, every day would be different, but if I had, truly the weather would affect me a lot. And if the weather was cold, or if rain was coming, I would feel flu symptoms, basically. I would feel like it took a while to get out of bed. I would feel stiff. I would feel achy. I would feel a little bit depressed too, because I couldn't do what I wanted to do. But it wasn't every day. I mean, it would seem to go in stages. And then the doctor would put me on prednisone, and that would suppress everything. And then I'd feel really good for a while. So it was this constant kind of up and down of, that type of thing.
So if you had to have rated your quality of life at that point, with 10 being the best, what would it have been?
I would say a 6.
Mm-hmm. And did you?
And then sometimes less.
Okay.
Sometimes
what would have been the lowest?
Oh, the lowest would have been 2 or 3. Not just feeling like I couldn't get out of bed.
Mm-hmm. Did you have to use a wheelchair or any aids to help you walk?
No, I did not. I did not have to do that. Mm-hmm. I would try to stay active no matter what. I would at least walk most of it, as much as I could.
And did you have any side effects from all the different drugs you took?
Oh, yes. I had several side effects with the methotrexate, so I had to go off of that. And I'm trying to think. I was on Enbrel, and that I'd had side effects with that. The Orencia, the last one I was on, I did not have any side effects that I knew about, except that, the warnings for biologicals, there's 2 or 3 pages of them. And I knew that it was not really very good for my body.
Mhm.
That's why I wanted to look into something like LDN that did not have a lot of side effects and had been around for a long time. And that's basically why I looked into it.
Okay. So when you looked into it, how easy was it to find a doctor that you could work with that would prescribe it for you?
It was not easy, except when I went to your website and when I listened to the doctors. And then also you have that wonderful area where you can just put in your zip code and then doctors will pop up. So I did that. I basically contacted one of the doctors in Oklahoma, and then I found somebody. I live in Sacramento. I found somebody in Sacramento that actually did one of your seminars with some other people, I think. And then it was easy, but I don't. It wasn't easy with my regular rheumatologist by any means. I explained to my rheumatologist that I was on LDN, and she said, "Well, I've heard of it, but we're going to keep you on the Orencia." So it wasn't like I could get it from my regular doctor, my regular rheumatologist. She wasn't that interested in knowing how wonderful I felt. And again, I had these. I had blood work that was looking really, really good too.
So
So it
has
kind of
she
surprised me.
so has she commented on how well you're doing now, or is she still in denial that it's not the LDN?
I think it's she says she's commenting on how well I'm doing, but I don't think she thinks it's the LDN. That's just my
Mm.
general feeling. However, I have I'm not on the infusions anymore, and things are still normal. So really, all I'm on right now is the LDN. But I've also changed rheumatologists.
Okay. So when you first started LDN, did you notice any introductory side effects?
Yes, I could not take it at night. It made me kind of wired, which went away after a while. And again, I was graduated. I didn't take. I took, I think, 1 milligram, and then I went up to 2.5, and then now I'm at 4.5. And I don't have those side effects anymore. I can take it at night now, but in the beginning, I couldn't take it at night. It really was. It kept me awake.
Mhm. And how long did it take before you noticed any positive effects?
I would say at the 6 month mark, maybe 4 to 6 months, I thought, wow, I just feel really good. And I feel really energetic. And I feel brighter. I feel happier. So, yeah, 4 to 6 months,
And what would
I
you say
noticed the
your
change.
quality of life is like now?
My quality of life is amazing. I teach Qigong. I just started teaching Qigong, and I walk 2 or 3 times a week. I feel wonderful. I just turned 70 and I don't feel it, which is really wonderful too. I just feel really good. And I know that it has to do with the LDN. I just know it. That's why I'm just so excited about telling people about it.
The doctor that you got to prescribe the LDN for you, it's a lady doctor, didn't you say?
Yes.
A lady doctor. So Did she recommend changing your diet or supplements as well, or had you already done that prior to LDN?
I pretty much decided that I mean, I needed to stay away from sugar, and I needed to, my diet is pretty good, actually. I stay away from meat. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and I've always done that, and I've always tried to walk at least a little bit. So she did recommend, actually, she did recommend a few supplements for me, but the LDN was the main one that we talked about.
Mhm. And what would you say your quality of life is now on that score of 1 to 10?
Oh, 9? I mean, is it crazy to say 10? I don't know. No, 9 for sure. I would say some days are, just even better than that. I just don't have that aching pain that, I mean, anybody who has rheumatoid arthritis probably understands. It's almost like you feel like you have the flu and your joints just hurt. It hurts to do anything. And then that causes, a dip in your just depressive feelings and everything. So yeah, I feel like I'm a new person. And I really appreciate that. I appreciate your website so much and everything you do with all the seminars and webinars that you have. They're just amazing. So I want to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. And I have to say, you look remarkable for 70
Oh,
years old,
oh, good.
or 70 years
Okay, good.
young, should I say?
Yes, 70 years young. Yes.
Because LDN is also used for longevity. So
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
you'll still look the same when you're 80, you know?
Oh, I would love
Fingers
that.
crossed.
Yes, I know the latest book has a whole chapter on longevity, which I read, which is
Mhm.
wonderful. Yes.
What
So
did you
that's all
think to
good.
the LDN book 3?
Oh, I loved it. It was wonderful. So much information. I mean, there's just more and more and more information. So it was a great book.
Good.
And I
Have
love the
you
part about the longevity.
have you read the first 2 books?
Um, I I read the first book. I did not read the second book,
Mhm.
but the third book for sure. Yeah, it just came out.
Yes, the third book. Um, we have a few more minutes left. What would you like to say to our listeners who suffer with chronic pain, who are rather skeptical about trying LDN? Because at the end of the day, it's not one of your biologics, but it is still a drug, even though it's very low dose and it's not toxic and etc. etc.
Right.
But some people are still wary of taking any drugs. So what would your
You know,
advice be?
I would just suggest trying it because it doesn't have side effects. I mean, it may have a few side effects, but compared to your quality of life and having to take even ibuprofen and things like that, I just think it's worthwhile to give it a try. Just give it a try. Um, it's so easy to take, and I have, like I said, now I have no side effects whatsoever, and I mean, it's changed my life, and I think that's so worth it to change your life in the positive and feel like your disease is under control and maybe in remission. It's so worth it to give it a try. That's all I can say.
Have you had a flare at all since you've
No,
been taking LDN? No.
I have not had a flare. I have had no flares.
Prior to LDN, did you have to take any painkillers?
Well, from time to time, because I would get flare ups, I would have to take prednisone. And that's horrible for your body, just
Mm.
not good at all. But I would have to take that. And I would take almost nightly ibuprofen, but I don't take that anymore.
Mhm. And you've not had to take any medication for pain since being on LDN?
I have not. I mean, the only thing I guess I had a headache one day and I took acetaminophen, but that's it. I haven't taken anything else. So I don't know. I'm knocking on wood.
Yes.
I think it's.
Well, what an inspirational story. And thank you very much for having shared it with us today.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. And I just can't say enough about your organization and what you do to help people. I really can. And I thank you. Thank you.
Any questions or comments you may have, please email me, Linda, Linda, at ldnrt.org. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you for joining us today. We really appreciated your company. Until next time, stay safe and keep well.